Flosstube, this is Emer and I am the Irish Stitcher. Today is the 28th of December and I am currently lost in that holiday time vortex where like days mean nothing. Little dramatic, but I'm sure you can all relate. I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. I hope it was lovely, peaceful, full of love from family and friends, loved ones. Whatever you did, I hope it was nice. I have a lot to talk about today. I had put off filming this because I was sick, which was a very good excuse, I felt. I thought I hadn't done a lot of stitching this month because I was sick. Like I said, I kind of just spent a lot of that time in a daze feeling sorry for myself. And I had also burned my hand quite badly while baking, and that kind of put me at a stitching commission for about a week. But looking back, I think I actually got quite a lot done since my last Flosstube video. And even if I hadn't, I have 2023 plans to talk about, which is so exciting. I can't believe the year's already over. I've been really enjoying seeing other people's 2023 plans, and I've been like properly binging those kind of videos to get an idea for myself of what I'm going to do. I feel like I have so much to do, to start, that I want to buy. It got a little bit overwhelming, but we'll see how this video goes. I am going to start off by talking about my whips that I worked on since my last video, and anything you see here will be on my No New Starts. I think they've rebranded to Whip Warriors. I will be doing the 23 in 2023, which means that I will get a whip list of 23 projects. If I start the year with a free space, I can use that as a start for 2023. Or if I finish a project that's already on the list, I can start a new project of a similar size. I have 15 projects on the list that I'm starting. So some of them are here in my whip pile. Some of them I will show you to give an idea of where I am starting the new year. And then I have a couple of starts and I'm going to need your advice on it. Kicking things off, this is Joy. This is a piece that I got in the Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas magazine. It is by Dorian Jones. You can get it on Etsy. I hope it's coming up okay on the camera. I am doing it on like a pale creamy off-white fabric, and I'm doing it in all metallics, which isn't as bad as it sounds, to be perfectly honest. I do work with this with my neck light, and it's really pleasing to see how it sparkles with the light on it. So I honestly think that was giving me the bit of motivation to continue. And I kind of just pulled this out the week before Christmas because I was feeling Christmassy and wanted something sparkly to work on. So yeah, that is on my 23 in 2023 list. Next up is actually a new start. You saw this in my previous video in the haul. This is by Silver Creek Samplers. I don't know, doesn't have a name on it, but this is No Winter Lasts Forever, No Spring Skips Its Turn. I started working on it and then I burned my hand, so I think it actually ended up in a funny place. I have stitched Winter Lasts Forever, No Spring, which is a very ominous place to leave off on. This is the called for fabric. This is Tyco by Picture This Plus. I am just using whatever floss I had in stash. I think the text might actually be the called for colour, and they look pretty similar. But it's really nice to work on, and I was really enjoying it. And then I couldn't work on it, so. But that'll be a quick finish. I'm not going to commit to working on it. I'll work on it when I feel like it. It is a piece that will be displayed in winter. Whether or not I'll get it finished for display this winter, I'm not entirely sure, because I will be starting a new start on January 1st, so it's unlikely that this will get prioritized. But it will be ready for next Christmas, which will be lovely. Next up is Lakapati. You'll have to excuse me, I kept everything in the pouches. I don't normally do that, but because I'm pulling out so many different things this video, I wanted everything to just be able to go back into the pouch. This is Lacopati by Bella Filipina. I've been working on her since June of this year, I want to say. No, it was earlier than June. Might have been April, May, early summery, kind of late spring I started. I started working on, so the piece where I've stitched the most in the middle, let me fold it up to show you, is the very middle page of the pattern. That kind of, down to that line is the middle page. Bit with her head is the top page, and I decided that I wanted to see how tall she was, so I moved down to the bottom. The very bottom of the stitching is the very bottom of her dress. She is tall. Sorry about the lighting. And she's going to get some sort of halo around her head. So she is bloody tall. She is, excuse me, she is one of the 2 ladies that I would like to get finished next year. That feels like a rather big commitment, but I've all year to do it. We will see how it goes. Next up is actually also a new start. I kind of feel like I didn't start this in the last month. This is Deco Spirits by Mirabilia. And I made a start on a piece of Moonlighting by Sparklies. I unfortunately think this fabric is no longer being produced by Kate. I don't have a massive start. That is because I was working on this. And you know when you're working on even weave or linen, you want to be starting the bottom of your stitch going over a vertical leg so that the stitches kind of don't fall behind the weave of the fabric. I went to start a stitch and I realized, uh-oh, I am half a stitch off where I should be. I am 1 fabric hole over where I should be. So I had to go hunting. It is navy thread on a dark blue fabric. Thank God for my necklight. So I had to go hunting. I had to frog it. I stitched. I think I had to frog this piece twice. I like it, but it is difficult to work on. Kind of piece where I kind of have to do in small amounts. And speaking of projects giving me difficulty, this madam, G-Drops. This is a Nora Corbett. She shouldn't be giving me that much trouble. I had to frog her again. I had to frog some of her hair. I have been working on her arm and her hair. I didn't do a ton because she is very bold and honestly puts me in a bit of a bad mood when I have to frog her. She's so pretty. I love how she looks. She shouldn't be taking me this long. I was so fast with that dress. Sorry, I feel like I'm waving this about an awful lot. It's been taking me ages with the hair. Don't know why she's so difficult. I know I said that I wanted to get 2 ladies finished next year. I think I could get her finished next year. The Nora Corbetts are a lot smaller than Mirabilia's. So they're almost like in a separate category. In my head, there's like the big Mirabilia, Bella Filipina, large ladies. And then there's the smaller Nora Corbett with a lot less detail. So they kind of get put in 2 categories in my head. Anyway, that is what I have worked on in the past month. That is a lie. I have worked on Andromeda. I don't have her here. I will put in a picture of where she is. I didn't do a ton. I took her home when I went to my parents for Christmas and I just did a little bit on the dress kind of beside her leg. She is the other big lady that I would like to get finished this year. I had started her roughly September, October of 2021. She was my very first Mirabilia, and I did the skin color conversion, so I'd love to see her finished. I have the beads, I have the Krynic, I have everything to finish her. It's just a matter of doing it. I think I will. She might even be like a first half of the year finish. I'm really determined to get her finished, and I will pay out the money to get her framed properly. Laced with the spacers for the beads, the whole 9 yards. I want to see it done right. We are on to the rest of my whips that are on my 23 and 23 list, but that I haven't worked on since my last video. These are all kind of decently high priority projects. I had toyed around with the idea of doing a sort of 10 by 10 idea where I would pick 10 of these projects and work on each of them for 10 days. I might yet do that, but given that there's only 15 on the list, I might just end up making sure that they all get 10 days. I don't know yet, but they're all in a position where I want to get them a good bit of work done on them. This is Bayonne Cat by Isle Forest Embroidery. I love this piece. I just didn't work on it a whole lot this year, and I thought I'd get it finished in 2022. It's a real shame. Now, I feel like I'm going to say, maybe I'll get this finished in 2023. I know I won't get everything finished in 2023, but I would love to see this one done in 2023. Am I being too ambitious? We'll see. I have kind of realised as I was looking through my whips that I do have a lot of fancy ladies, and it is what I love to stitch. But I don't want that to be the only thing I stitch. I feel that I might burn out on the ladies if it's all I stitched. So it's nice to have something like that cat, where there's just lots of motifs and colour and lots of different little bits to work on. But we're back to more ladies. This is Elegant Geisha by Dimensions. She didn't get worked on a whole lot this year. She is honestly one of my oldest whips. I got her, might have been a couple of months after I started cross-stitching, I think. Because I started cross-stitching in 2015, September 2015, when I started university. I picked her up the summer of 2016 because I went to is it Hobbycraft in the UK, and they had kits, and I thought she was really cool. I picked her up, and honestly she was a lot more difficult than I realised she was going to be. Maybe difficult's the wrong word, but there was more detail in it than I was expecting. And it was on 18 count. I think this was my first project on 18 count. Basically just lots of excuses. I don't know if I will finish her in 2023, but I definitely will do at least 10 days on her kind of thing. I don't plan on doing whip go this year because I just didn't stick with it last year. But I might actually still draw a fat grid for myself. I might do a 15 by 10 grid and make sure that all of these 15 whips get 10 days on them. And I think 10 days on Elegant Geisha could go a long way. Next up is Maidens of the Seasons. I think I only have part 1 down with me. That's fine. This is spring and summer. If anyone watches Lynn the Lancashire Stitcher, good, she's great, I highly recommend it. But she is doing a seasonal sal this year. So this is where I am at the moment. I have a lot of spring done. The idea that Lynn had was you pick either one large piece that represents all 4 seasons or 4 separate pieces, one for each season. And I realised Maidens of the Seasons is perfect for this stitch along. However, I had bought all the floss for spring and summer. Obviously we are in winter at the moment, so I would need to be working on winter. What I'm going to do is I will make a start on winter with what I have. Each of the seasons have different flowers along the top. I can probably get some of that started with what flosses I have. Otherwise, I will just buy some floss to get winter done or to get winter started. Then come spring, I would really like to focus on the spring lady. I did mention in my previous video my like rough plan of a lady each year finishing this for my 30th birthday. That might not work out the first year if I'm splitting this across seasons. So that's why in spring, at the very least, I'm really going to focus on spring from Maidens of the Seasons. Next up is a very small piece that I have nearly finished. This is Polaroid Wave by Cross Stitch KSU. They no longer are on Etsy. I think they still sell from their Instagram. It's just a square. That's the bottom of it. I just need to finish out the waves and the moon and the stars. But really, like a couple of days on this, I'd be done. And I think I will backstitch, leave a little bit of empty space at the bottom to give the idea that this is like a little Polaroid photo. Don't know what I'll do with it when I'm done. Might be the kind of thing that just sits as a finish, but that's okay because it's cute. Next up is A Year of Flowers by The Drawn Thread. I wish I had a better picture of what it'll look like. I'm doing the 3x4 version. I have 4 months fully done. May is honestly nearly done as well. I will get this finished this year. I know I said I wouldn't say that about every project, but this goes so fast. Like there's really no excuse for why I couldn't finish it. Not entirely sure what I'll do when I finish it. I love how the framed folio looks, or the finished folio looks. I, however, don't want to use it on a... I don't want to use it as a folio because I'd be so afraid of the lovely fabric and stitching getting ruined. And this is on 32 count Summer Skies by Sparklies. It's something Skies by Sparklies. And it is the opalescent version. I don't think the camera's picking up the sparkles. But I reckon this will be a fairly easy finish. What might happen is come spring, I will be struck by the urge to stitch flowers. If not, a really easy way to ensure I get this finished this year would be to stitch on each month during the month. It would take me a couple of days to get each one finished, and it would definitely be finished by December. It's unlikely that I'll wait to June to pick this up again, but that's the worst case scenario. And even in that worst case scenario, I see myself finishing it. It's exciting. Next up, Teacups by Fiddlesticks AU on Etsy. This is the piece that I have a little problem with, and that I still haven't been able to find what the cream was. I am going to make an effort. What I might do is, hold on, let me look at this. The 4 cups that I have stitched the cream for have all been finished. Absolute worst case scenario, if I can't find the correct match, I will just stitch the other 2 cups in a different colour. My current plan is to take this into a shop. There is a sewing shop in Dublin. They're not great for cross stitch, but they do have a DMC stuff, like a, you know, the little tower of DMC that spins. I will take this in and I will try to find the match. The floss in that shop, and it's not their fault, like other sewing shops in Ireland do have floss and they're all like €2, 2 something. 150 is the absolute cheapest. I have been able to find a single skein of floss in Ireland, which is just like, I hate paying it when I know I can get it for so much cheaper in the UK. Ooh. Excuse the rattling, my projects are in a precarious pile. Alright, next up. I know I won't get this one finished this year. It is Hunter Gatherer by Rosewood Manor. I love the piece. It's just large. I know I'm not getting it done this year. That's fine. It will definitely come out in September for Sampler September. It will likely come out at other times this year. It came out during September and like early in the year, like March-ish. Um, it's cool. I love the colours. It makes me happy to work on. It is just a very big piece of fabric. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it's nice to have non-lady things to work on. I'd hate to become like one note. Okay, we're getting to the end of my 15. I really hope I've counted this right. Someone's going to be like, actually that's 17. This is Night Walk Down by the Blue Flower. I worked not a ton on this. Honestly, I forgot that I had this whip, which is embarrassing to say. I forgot I had it, but I showed it in my last video. I need to pull out the fabric. It's on 40 count truffle Newcastle linen. Da, da, da. I think where the bottom of her skirt is curving is where the cat starts. I also don't think I'll get this one finished this year. Look at this honesty, look at me, look at the realism. But it's a nice piece. I'm happy just chugging away at it. Whew. I don't think I've talked this much in ages. And the final piece. Sorry, I've got fluff in my mouth. Final piece isn't in its box. That's awkward. I'll put a picture in here. It is Dark Green of the Sea. I don't have a ton on her. At the start of the year, I stitched the 3 fish in front of her and never picked it up since. It's not that I don't think she's really cool, and I've seen her finished a couple of times. She's just never come out for one reason or another. I will make a concerted effort to get her stitched this year. I can't believe she's not in her box. She's one of the few pieces I actually have in like a proper box, and she's not in it. It's so rude. Okay, those are my whips. Some of them I will focus on for finishing with an intent to finish. Of course, I wouldn't be a stitcher if I didn't have some new starts planned. If you watch Teresa Little Stitcher, she has the hashtag Teresa Made Me Do It Sal. That was knit by her stream. And the idea is that you stitch a fancy person, fancy lady, fancy man, fancy person. Doesn't matter as long as they're fancy. I can't decide what to stitch. And this is where I would really appreciate some feedback, some input. I have a couple of options. The first, it's been sitting in this beautiful project bag by Ladybird. My brother got me this pattern for Christmas 2021. It is Persephone. And I hemmed and hawed. I really wasn't sure what fabric to stitch her on. Setting her aside for the moment. I did make a start, and I haven't actually shown it on here, but I did make a start, not a very big start, but a start, on this kind of pinky piece of fabric. I don't think it's showing up well on the camera at all. It's pinker, more pink in real life, with little kind of, I'd almost say it's like a very pale lilac base with pink splotches throughout. I'm just not certain if I love the fabric for it. And to kind of complicate matters, Alan, my partner, got me Daybreak by Paul Stitches. This is a lovely bluey, purpley fabric. It is 28 count. I normally stitch my ladies on 32, but the fabric is plenty big. No reason why I couldn't do it on this. So I am thinking of honestly just restarting Persephone on this. I'm trying to decide if that camera's picking up the colours true to form. What do you think? I really hope the blues wouldn't blend in too much. Let me pull out the floss. No, the floss is elsewhere. Apologies for that. I had also considered stitching her on, I think this is Ocean Depths by Sparklies, but this is an Ada, and I really don't want to stitch her on an Ada. It's a really cool colour. That would have been cool. Having said all that, I think it is unlikely that Persephone will be my New Year start for the Teresa Made Me Do It sell. I think I'm just still too undecided on the fabric. I like the pink looking at it, but I think I'd prefer it in a more purpley fabric. But is this one too blue? I don't know. I don't feel confident about either option. Let me know what you think. I think I've talked before about kind of struggling for a fabric for Persephone. So, Persephone is an unlikely start for the Teresa Made Me Do It sell. Next up, I wasn't able to find the pattern. Lilith of Labrador. I've had her kitted up for quite a while. She doesn't use a ton of floss, so I think that was why I had her kitted up, minus the beads. As you know, I always leave that for last. I had intended to stitch her on, what fabric is this? Smoky Blue by Fabric Flare. Hold on, did I start her? Is that a start? In the middle of that fabric? That is. But I am very unconvinced. That's quite a pale blue. So, actually looking, she could be kind of cool on that. While I was going through my stash, there is this is also quite pale. It's more green than is showing up on the camera at the moment. But I also found this 28 count Ocean Depths. Now I'm looking at this going, oh, maybe I should do Persephone on this. This is a disaster. What one should I do where? Where should I do what? God, with that discovery, I feel like Lilith is a less likely start now too. Oh my god. But I really like her, and I feel a little bad that I've had her DMC for so long and not done anything about it. My other two options are The Dreamer by Mirabilia on, what is this? Oh, this is Tycho. The other one was the No Winter Lasts Forever is done on Tarnish. This is Tycho. It's a fairly neutral kind of parchmenty colour. This is massive. And that's what kind of is turning me off starting this for the Teresa Made Me Do It sell, is that it is so large that I don't know that I would keep up with the rest of stitchers in the sal. However, one big reason why I do want to stitch this, aside from thinking she's beautiful, having all the DMC in the fabric, is that this was a gift. I was given this pattern, and it is an out of print pattern from 1994. It is the 8th Mirabilia, and I don't want it to just sit in my stash. I am probably going to see, well, you gifted me this in March, so I would really, really love to take it out in March. Julie, if you're watching, hi, thanks again. But I'd love to take it out in March and just show, like, look how much I've done. I really appreciated this gift. So that is a big point in the Dreamer's favour. The final option is Gaia, the Earth Goddess. I kitted her up at the... No, sorry, I kitted the floss up. And I have all the floss on the cards and everything. I kitted the floss up with the help of a floss fairy from America while Joanne's had a sale on. And then I bought the fabric from Sparklies. This is not, that looks white. It is a blue to green gradient, which is just perfect for Gaia. I like Gaia. I think she's great. However, despite the size, I think I'm leaning towards the Dreamer. Let me know if I'm like utterly mad or if anybody else is starting a giant piece. Like, I know I won't get her finished in this year, but I think she needs to be started. Yeah. Okay, having decided on that, that is my New Year's start. I really love the latest, oh no, I don't think she's the latest, perhaps the second most recent Bella Filipina release, Maguayan, the Goddess of Death and the Sea, which is a really cool combination. She's the lady with the navy dress with the boat behind her. She is beautiful. At the moment, I am really tempted to put in an order with Hawkins Hobbies for the March retreat that I'm going to and collect her there and realistically start her at the March retreat. So that is probably my big ladies started first half of the year. Realistically, I don't think I can justify starting Gaia or Persephone if I've already started the Dreamer and possibly Maguayan in March. There will be a new start in March, is what I'm saying. I have quite a few Mirabilias that I do love. However, I feel that until I finish Andromeda and Lakapati, there shouldn't be any more starts other than the Dreamer and the one in March. And perhaps if I finish those two, I'll allow myself to start Gaia or Persephone or something. It just feels really silly to have patterns kitted and not be working on them, to not be enjoying them. And I feel less guilty about having patterns that I just have the pattern for, because I like looking at them. And I'd still like to eventually start them. I feel like I'm going around in circles there, but you get the point, basically. I don't want to be buying a ton more stash and having my number of Fancy Lady Whips grow exponentially and never finish any of them. So yeah, that's my 2023 plans. In my January video, you will see some progress on the Dreamer. Oh, I feel so chuffed having picked her now. Let me know also, what do you think of those fabrics for Lilith of Labrador and Persephone? Do I need to go get an entirely different fabric for Persephone? Do I need to get one that's really properly purple? Would she be good in the pink? Would she be good in the kind of purpley pink that my partner got me? I don't know. Let me know. I think my brother would really like to see that started as well. Because he did ask this Christmas, remember that pattern I got you last Christmas? I was like, oh yeah, I've started it. I love working on it. Which was not a lie, because I have started it. I've just been really conflicted about the fabric. Whew, I have talked a lot. Like I said at the start, I hope you've had a lovely holiday season. Let me know if you got any stitchy presents. What are your plans for the new year? Are you taking part in Lynn's season and Teresa's Sal, any other stitch alongs? I was really tempted by the Modern Folk embroidery, but I know that it's too big. I wouldn't finish it. I don't need it. But yeah, that's all for today. Bye.